Welcome to Enrichment with the Gifted Guy. This is an introductory video to a series of videos, each of which teach you what are known as executive functioning skills. So, the first question you might be asking yourself are, what are executive functioning skills? These are the skills that we learn in order to achieve a goal. And sometimes, depending upon the size of the goal, we might use one of these skills. Sometimes we may have to use dozens of these skills to accomplish our goal. But the more of these skills that you know, the more likely you are to be successful in the goal that you're trying to achieve. Sometimes these goals can be very large, like having a career goal that's 20 years down the road. Sometimes these goals can be as simple as waking up in the morning. So, what you see here is a list of several executive functioning skills that you use every day just to wake up and get to school in the morning. You can see here the first one of these is initiation, which is getting yourself up in the morning. So ask yourself, do you get yourself up in the morning? Do you use an alarm? Do you rely on your parents? Someone with executive functioning skills would be able to do this independently and get themselves up on their own. Another one is planning and prioritization. When you get up in the morning, you have a series of things that you do to get ready, such as maybe take a shower, eat breakfast, put your clothes on, get your stuff ready for school. So, what order are you going to go in? Which one makes sense? Which is the most important? And so, knowing what you're going to be doing is part of the executive functioning skill of planning. Time management is another one that you'll be using. So, how much are you going to spend on each of these? Are you someone that wakes up with 5 minutes to go and you have to do everything in a rush? Or do you wake up with 30 minutes and plenty of time to get ready? Or do you wake up with 30 minutes to get ready and you waste time, maybe watching YouTube videos or whatever? So, do you use your time well? So, time management is all about using your time well and pacing yourself to leave yourself enough time to get done what you need to get done before it is you're going to get on the bus or get to school, however you're going to get to school. Organization is another important one. So, this is like having your clothes where you need to have them so you don't have to search for them, making sure everything is in your backpack that you need to have, making sure that you have a lunch to eat, whether it's buying or packing. Working memory is also going to come into play. So when you do the steps that you have in your plan, do you know how to do them? So you obviously know how to brush your teeth more than likely, but do you know how to get your own breakfast ready? Do you know how to get the things that you need to get in order to be and to do the things that you need to be prepared? Self-regulation is another skill that you'd use to get up in the morning. Self-regulation are those voices in your head that tell you to not do what you need to do. So if your alarm goes off, does a voice in your head say, "Oh, you can just go back to sleep and get 5, 10 more minutes of sleep"? Do you listen to that voice or do you ignore that voice? Someone who has self-regulation doesn't listen to that voice and they do what they're supposed to do. Someone who maybe doesn't have self-regulation will give in to that voice. The last one is flexibility. Look, we all have plans. It doesn't mean that that plan is going to go according to plan. So you may say, I'm going to leave myself this much time to do this, but then you can't find your shoes. And so it takes you longer to do that. Or I'm going to go out and wait by the bus stop and it starts to rain. So do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan C? Do you have flexibility worked into your plan? So if something doesn't go the way that you intended to, that you can then be flexible and move on to something else. So you can see how many executive functioning skills it takes to get up in the morning. Imagine how many executive functioning skills it takes to work on a project or to get your homework done or to study for a test. So that's what these videos are going to do. They're going to talk about a skill that you would use in school and then the executive functioning skills that go into that particular skill. And there might be many of these skills that go into that. For each of these skills, I'll talk about what the skill is. So I'll define it clearly what it is. I'll say why it's important. So, why is it important to have this particular skill, to be able to possess the skill? And then, lastly, most importantly, how do you develop the skill? How do you learn the skill? Because again, you're not born with these skills. These are skills that are learned and developed over time. How do you do that? What does that look like? What tools can you use in order to develop that? Now, keep in mind, these skills are not just skills for school. They will be greatly helpful in your school, but they also translate to life. So people that have good executive functioning skills tend to be more successful in life because they're able to achieve the goals that they set out for themselves. So hopefully by listening to watching these videos, you will then be able to do the same. You will be able to take these skills that you've learned and employ them in order for you to reach the goals that you set for yourself.